Why do you keep making the same mistake? That self-sabotaging behavior, that toxic relationship pattern, that cycle of debt you can't seem to escape, and you promise yourself you'll change. You make a sincere effort, but inevitably you find yourself right back where you started, trapped in a loop of repetitive failure. This is not a weakness of character. It is a karmic loop. A powerful demigod, the king of heaven himself, was trapped in one for centuries, and his story reveals the hidden spiritual mechanism that creates these patterns in your life, and more importantly, how you can finally escape. This knowledge is crucial because these loops are not just frustrating. They are the primary mechanism that keeps a soul bound to the cycle of birth and death. Each repetition strengthens the pattern, making it harder to break in the next life. But there is a way out. It is not through willpower alone. It is through understanding the subtle science of karma and applying the one force that is powerful enough to shatter the loop forever: divine grace. To understand the loop, you must first understand the concept of Sansita karma. This is the vast, unseen storehouse of all the karmas you have accumulated over countless lifetimes. Imagine it as a massive cosmic hard drive containing every thought, word, and deed. Now, from this massive storehouse, certain karmas manifest in your present life. But some karmas don't just manifest as a single event. They manifest as a pattern, a recurring theme. This is because the original action was not a one-time event, but a habit born from a deep-seated desire or flaw in consciousness. The story of Indra, the king of the demigods, is the perfect example. Indra is the ruler of the heavenly planets, a position of immense power and opulence. But he has one persistent character flaw: pride. His pride in his position often leads him to disrespect great spiritual personalities. This is his karmic loop. In one famous story, Indra was riding on his celestial elephant when he came across the powerful sage Durvasa Muni. Durvasa offered Indra a sacred garland that had been offered to the Lord. Indra, intoxicated with his own importance, carelessly took the garland and placed it on the head of his elephant. The elephant, irritated by the scent, threw the garland to the ground and trampled it. Durvasa Muni, who was known for his short temper, saw this as a grave act of disrespect. He cursed Indra, saying that because he had become so proud of his opulence, he and all the demigods would lose their wealth and power. This single act of pride, trampling the sacred garland, plunged the entire universe into a state of chaos and war with the demons. This was not the first time Indra's pride had caused a disaster. It was a recurring pattern, a karmic loop. This is exactly what happens in your life, a deep-seated pattern, perhaps a lack of self-worth, a tendency towards anger, or a weakness for a certain temptation, is your inner Indra. An external event occurs, a difficult conversation, a moment of stress, an opportunity for indulgence. This is your Durvasa Muni offering you a test. Your habitual unconscious reaction is you placing the garland on the elephant's head, and the inevitable negative outcome, the argument, the relapse, the financial loss, is the curse that follows. The key to breaking the loop is to understand that it is fueled by a subtle, internal force called a samskara. A samskara is a deep mental impression, a groove carved into your consciousness by repeated actions and thoughts. The more you repeat an action, the deeper the groove becomes, and the more likely you are to fall back into that pattern automatically. Your karmic loop is a powerful samskara playing out in your life. Willpower alone is often not enough to overcome a deep samskara. You can fight it for a while, but the moment you are tired or stressed, you will slide back into that familiar groove. So how did Indra escape his cycle? After being defeated by the demons, the demigods, now powerless and destitute, had no choice but to humble themselves. They went to Lord Vishnu, the supreme god, and begged for his help. They surrendered. This is the first and most critical step to breaking your own loop. You must admit your powerlessness over the pattern. You must stop believing that your own ego and willpower are enough to solve it. You have to surrender to a higher power. Lord Vishnu then gave them a plan to churn the ocean of milk to recover the nectar of immortality. But he told them they could not do it alone. They would have to make a temporary truce and cooperate with their enemies, the demons. This is the second step. You must be willing to do something radically different. You have to be willing to make peace with the parts of yourself you consider your enemies. You might need to seek help, to join a support group, to try a new spiritual practice, to do the very thing your pride has prevented you from doing. The churning of the ocean was a long and arduous process with many setbacks. At one point, a deadly poison emerged that threatened to destroy the universe. Only Lord Shiva could save them by drinking the poison. The ultimate reveal is this: the process of breaking a karmic loop is not clean or easy. It is a churning. It will bring up your own inner poison, your fear, your shame, your despair. You cannot handle this poison alone. You must rely on divine grace, your Lord Shiva, to absorb it for you through prayer, meditation, and faith. The loop is not broken by a single decision. It is broken through a sustained process of surrender, humility, and reliance on a higher power. Indra was eventually restored to his position, but he was humbled. He had learned, at least for a time, the destructive power of his pride. The samskara was weakened. Your karmic loop is your greatest spiritual teacher. It is pointing directly to the part of your consciousness that most needs healing and purification. Do not hate it. Do not despair over it. See it as a divine signpost. When you feel yourself about to repeat that old mistake, stop. That is the sacred moment. In that moment, do not rely on your own strength. Surrender. Pray. Ask for help. Do something different. This is how you stop carving the groove deeper and begin to fill it in. With each conscious choice, each moment of surrender, you weaken the samskara. One day, you will face the same old trigger, and you will find, to your amazement, that you are free. The loop is broken. If you are tired of being trapped in the same repetitive failure and are ready to begin the sacred process of churning your own consciousness, follow our channel for guidance, strength, and the grace to finally break free.